In open darkness, a glass octopus appears as a faint outline surrounding visible eyes and digestive organs. Its body seems unfinished, yet transparency is the feature that makes this pelagic animal difficult to detect. Vitreledonella richardi lives away from shelter, suspended in tropical and subtropical ocean depths. There are no rocks to match and no den to retreat inside. The mystery is how a complex body becomes optically quiet without becoming biologically simple. Most tissues must still move, sense, digest, reproduce, and resist damage while transmitting surrounding light. The animal's near invisibility is therefore a compromise shaped by anatomy, posture, and the ocean's narrow illumination. Direct observations are rare because fragile pelagic octopuses occupy an enormous three-dimensional habitat. Specimens can collapse or cloud after capture, changing the transparency seen in living water. Remote footage provides natural posture, but often lacks scale, duration, or complete anatomical detail. Together, these records reveal real concealment while leaving its effectiveness difficult to measure. If you search the water column, the first challenge is noticing where the animal begins. The investigation follows light through skin, muscle, organs, and the unavoidable structures that remain opaque. Each visible part exposes a constraint, and each transparent surface reveals an adaptive answer. The opening outline survives not by vanishing completely, but by reducing contrast enough to escape attention. Vitreledonella richardi is a finless octopod with a gelatinous, largely transparent body and delicate arms. It spends its life in midwater, rather than habitually crawling across the seafloor. Sunlight diminishes with depth, and red wavelengths disappear sooner than blue wavelengths. In the mesopelagic zone, remaining downwelling light is dim, directional, and predominantly blue. An opaque animal viewed from below can form a dark silhouette against that faint ceiling. Transparent tissue allows much of the background light to pass through instead. This reduces the boundary that a visually hunting predator might detect. Water-rich tissue can approach the refractive properties of seawater more closely than dense, pigmented structures. Matching is imperfect because membranes, nerves, muscles, and organ surfaces still scatter or absorb light. The octopus cannot make its digestive contents transparent after capturing opaque food. Its eyes also require light-absorbing pigments. Otherwise, incoming photons would pass without forming an image. These necessary structures remain visible as concentrated points within the clear body. The eyes are elongated and oriented in a way that reduces their apparent profile from some directions. Such geometry may limit the shadow cast while retaining sensitivity to downwelling light. That interpretation follows optical anatomy, although natural predator tests remain scarce. The digestive gland is compact, concentrating opacity rather than spreading it through the body. Transparent arms carry reduced visual contrast as they extend through open water. Chromatophores are sparse compared with many shallow octopuses that change color against complex backgrounds. Transparency replaces broad background matching, where the background is mostly empty water. This solution works best under certain angles and light levels, not under every viewing condition. Bioluminescent flashes, vehicle lamps, or close inspection can reveal the animal immediately. The verified power of transparency is therefore concealment by reduced detection probability, not literal invisibility. The next question is how the glass octopus behaves to preserve that optical advantage. A shadow moving overhead may cue the octopus to change depth, orientation, or swimming direction. Gentle mantle contractions can produce jet propulsion while keeping the arms streamlined behind the body. Slow drifting reduces motion contrast because sudden acceleration can reveal even a transparent outline. When disturbed, individuals have been observed altering posture and moving away from approaching equipment. Those responses demonstrate sensitivity, but bright vehicles do not replicate a natural predator. The elongated eyes may scan upward while presenting a narrow, opaque surface laterally. Orientation could therefore align unavoidable pigmentation with the smallest visible cross-section. You might see almost nothing until an eye rotates or the digestive core crosses the background. That moment shows why behavior and anatomy must work together. Transparency also creates exposure to ultraviolet and visible radiation nearer the surface. The species' deeper distribution reduces those costs while preserving enough light for camouflage to matter. At greater depths, where sunlight disappears, transparency offers less protection against active bioluminescent searchlights. Predators can emit light and detect returning reflections from otherwise inconspicuous prey. Whether the glass octopus possesses special countermeasures against such searches remains unknown. Its gelatinous construction supports buoyancy and low-energy movement in food-poor midwater. A weakly mineralized body also minimizes dense structures that would increase both sinking and optical contrast. However, delicate tissue can limit force, making avoidance more dependent on early detection and concealment. Diet is incompletely documented, and confident claims should remain broader than the available stomach evidence. The animal is a predator, likely taking small pelagic prey that can be grasped by its arms and suckers. A nearby movement or chemical trace provides a cue. Arms engage the target, and the mouth receives it. After feeding, opaque material in the gut may temporarily increase visibility. Compact organs constrain that consequence to a smaller region than a fully opaque body would create. Reproduction introduces another conspicuous burden, because eggs and developing young cannot simply disappear. Females have been observed carrying numerous eggs within the arm crown. Brooding protects embryos in open water, but concentrates visible material near the body. The mother must balance concealment, oxygen delivery, locomotion, and offspring protection. How long brooding lasts and how behavior changes during that period remain poorly documented. The optical strategy is powerful precisely because it operates despite these unavoidable biological costs. Transparency shapes the animal's place within pelagic food webs. By capturing smaller organisms, it transfers energy upward through a midwater community with few physical boundaries. Larger fishes and deep-diving predators may in turn consume glass octopuses. A predator scans downwelling light, misses the weak outline, and loses a potential meal. When angle or motion exposes an eye, the same predator may approach, cueing an evasive jet. The consequence depends on light, distance, viewing geometry, and the predator's sensory system. This conditional sequence explains why natural selection can favor partial transparency without making it perfect. Midwater camouflage has evolved independently in many real organisms, including gelatinous zooplankton, crustaceans, and fishes. Different tissues solve the optical problem differently, and no single rule erases all reflection. The glass octopus represents a muscular mollusk pushed unusually far toward the transparent end of that spectrum. Its existence shows that open water is structured by light even when no landmarks are visible. Human observers also face the same optical difficulty when estimating abundance from cameras or nets. Clear animals are easily missed, damaged, or recorded only after lights change their appearance. Apparent rarity may therefore combine genuine low density with strong detection bias. You cannot count what the survey method consistently fails to distinguish from water. That uncertainty matters when warming, deoxygenation, and changing productivity reshape midwater habitats. Specific responses of Vitreledonella richardi remain unmeasured across most of its range. Future work must first improve observation without destroying the very camouflage being studied. Low-light imaging can record natural contrast before bright illumination triggers escape. Specialized cameras could measure scattering across viewing angles relevant to predators. Optical models should use living posture, actual depth, and local light fields rather than preserved shapes alone. Long stationary deployments could reveal drifting, hunting, and brooding behaviors over meaningful timescales. Environmental sensors can connect each sighting with temperature, oxygen, depth, and background illumination. Careful specimen analysis could map tissue composition while acknowledging changes caused by capture and preservation. Feeding observations should document cue, approach, contact, handling, and ingestion before assigning a hunting strategy. Predator encounters would test whether reduced contrast delays detection enough to improve escape. Repeated views from multiple angles could show how eye orientation changes the visible profile. Brooding females deserve special attention because their optical compromises may differ from those of other adults. If you return to the first faint outline, the visible organs now define necessary limits. The clear mantle transmits background light. The narrow eyes gather photons, and compact tissues contain unavoidable shadow. Movement can preserve that arrangement or betray it within a single pulse. The supported conclusion is more precise. Transparency lowers visual contrast across useful portions of its habitat. Questions remain about diet, depth changes, brooding duration, lifespan, and responses to active illumination. The glass octopus survives as a nearly transparent compromise, powerful enough to fade, imperfect enough to remain real.